Hey guys, welcome back to the STDX MLG channel here. As you've been with me all day here today, it's Psychology. I'm the CEO of SetToDestroyX. Today's guest we have Royalty, known as Royalty, kind of within the COD community here. He's actually an ex-player of SetToDestroyX. Right now, part of Kinetic. Is it Kinetic Empire? Kinetic Royal?
Yeah, Kinetic Empire
Okay.
right now.
All right. And once again, thank you very much for joining us. And long time no talk. How was the holidays?
It was good. Just did my thing with my family. Took a bit of a break from COD for a bit.
Right.
But I'm back now playing, so it should be fun.
Nice. And just because there's a lot of people that do know you, obviously here in the Canadian community,
Mhm.
a lot of people know you as being Canadian, and all because our community here in Canada is a lot smaller, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So when we do have someone that is well known in any type of game, it's usually accentuated a little bit more because we are very limited in our numbers.
Mhm.
So once again, just tell us a little bit about your age. You know, you don't have to give us your specific location, but kind of give us your whereabouts. So your age, location, and a little bit about your upbringing into Call of Duty.
All right. Well, so first, Royalty. I'm 18. I'm from Mississauga, and what started me like on the path of being like I guess a professional was pretty much playing with my friends. Like all my friends went to the same high school as me. You guys might know some Canadian players such as like such as Demon, um, and like Myth. Those guys are from my area too. We all came from the same city, and we all kind of started playing together, playing tournaments.
Yep.
And it's just we progressed as like kind of like a core group of Canadians, and we all had our shot, and I guess mine was in Advanced Warfare, and that's when I came up. And pretty much I went from SetToDestroyX that we had some decent runs, but in the end, like the team kind of like mutually like went our own ways, and I ended up joining Epsilon with Remy and Nagafin.
Yep.
I'm ex-teammates with them. I played with them back in 2014, so I was lucky enough to get picked up by them. And pretty much what happened was, I was on Epsilon for a bit, got released, and then, now I'm here, with Kinetic Empire playing with my teammate Sin. So
Okay. So now, right now, is it just confirmed a team of two right now with Kinetic?
yeah, it's just a team of two now.
And I don't want you to get into specifics because I know ultimately a lot of people can, see this or hear this and be like, all right, oh, I'm going to run with other people that you've been running with. But can you give us an idea as to maybe some of the people that you've kind of ran with here over the last couple of weeks? And give us a little bit of a taste of who possibly this new team could be under Kinetic?
Well, right now we were just kind of like trying to look at the teams that didn't make the league.
Yep.
So there's the players from E6, Cloud9, Killa's always there because
Well, of
Killa's
course, yeah.
there.
Right. Kill is always there, right?
Yeah,
He's always
Killa's
there.
always there.
Yeah, that's
So
right. That's right.
we played at back because he was a qualifier too. He was a great player.
Yep.
Um, so that's like kind of our main set of players, like the E6 guys, Cloud9, Killa, and then there's also two Canadian players, Myth and Steven,
Right.
who are also good,
Of
and we
course.
like
And
I
our
play.
and our great guys. Great guys.
Yeah, they're great guys to work with. So I mean, I love playing with them, and
Yeah.
I like we and I see Steven winning a lot of tournaments now. So that's like also good to see from him.
Right.
So we might try running with them,
Yep.
but nothing's confirmed yet. Me and Sin have just been enjoying the holidays. We haven't really talked a
Right.
lot about it. So when we get into it, maybe in the next 2 or 3 days, we should be running with some actual players, and people will probably see us playing
Right.
as Sin usually streams it. So.
Now, would you say like kind of explain to me a little bit about Sin's play style? Like, is he AR dominant? Is he sub? Is he OBJ? Like, and a lot of like, there's even new terms now too, right?
Yeah.
So like, what's kind of his style? What's your style? And then what do you think that you need right now on your team?
It's funny because like me and Sin are both submachine gun players,
Okay.
and everyone knows that from AW. Everyone knows I'm infamous for
Right.
being one of the most aggressive players.
Aggressive players. You and
Yeah,
Holler pretty much took that
yeah,
that whole thing, and I know that firsthand because you were on Set the Destroy X. But
exactly.
would you say he's as aggressive as you are?
Uh, well, he's like Sin's aggressive, but there's kind of a twist to it. When we first got on Kinetic Empire, it was me, Twiz, and Llama, and
Right.
Sin,
Right.
and we all got on the call. We're like, okay, guys, like, who's running the ARs here? No one said a word. So we're like, okay, Sin volunteered to run the assault rifle, so we're like, okay, that's one like AR player.
Yep.
Then Twiz said he'd do it. because Llama was also an aggressive sub. Like everyone knows him from AW as well. So we tried like different things, and I ended up being the one to run the AR, which is kind of weird because was considered one of the most aggressive players,
Right.
and it ended up working. Me and Sin ended up running an AR, but we're not. It was kind of like an unorthodox style of running an AR because me and him are both submachine gun players,
Right.
which naturally makes us more aggressive. So when we ran the ARs, it was more of an aggressive style, and pretty much it like made us have to work as a team more than like you usually would.
Of course, yeah. You're
And
changing the whole dynamic.
yeah, we
Yeah.
changed up everything. So it ended up working out. Me and Sin ended up like being really good players and like running ARs. And then when we teamed with Killa and Accuracy, Killa was a submachine gun player, and then Sin decided he's gonna go back to using the sub, and Accuracy was the main AR, and we just kind of been like trying new things because we never had like a set AR player on our team or a set two AR players.
Right.
And me and Sin were always like, I wonder if me and you can run the submachine gun one time. You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
so we just been kind of switching roles, but primarily I like to run the sub, and so does Sin. But lately we've been running ARs. So
Okay. And then I want to know. Obviously you have a great connection in Call of Duty. Going back, were you on TR at all?
I was never on TR. I was always like playing with them. Like I was
Right.
a sub for them in the UMG league. I was
Right.
just kind of always there, but
I didn't
never.
know if you came in like at the end because you were kind of like viewed as the sub, right?
Mm.
Right? So I didn't know if you came in at the end, kind of like before everything went down, for the revenge and everything like that. But with your history and obviously with the progression that you've seen, from SetToDestroyX to Epsilon, to Kinetic right now, what do you think has been, have you seen like a huge transition? Obviously, going from Xbox One to PlayStation, did you have any difficulty at all with that transition at all?
Um, Honestly, off the break, I did. Like, I wasn't like comfortable using the thumbsticks and
Right.
like where the placements were,
Yep.
and like it kind of I had to kind of adapt in the beta, and then moving over, not playing PS4 for another 3 months because we went right back to the Xbox after the beta was done,
Yep.
and then coming back to the PS4 after Black Ops 3 was released, that kind of screwed me up more. But I ended up adapting over like the course of like a week or something. And I found it easy. I got a Scuff controller. I heard like Scuff, Cinch, like Battle Beaver, like those are like the recommended controllers if you've
Right.
never used a PS4 because
Yep.
it'll make it a lot easier to jump and crouch and whatnot. So
Right. Um, and then, what is your whole take on the new COD World League and ultimately, developer support right now from Activision and obviously, so a lot of changes this year. Ultimately from going not only from a new game, from going from Advanced Warfare into ultimately Black Ops 3. So not just that transition, but going from a new console, new game, developer support to now having ultimately a new COD World League as well. ESL even has, ties and strong connections to everything that's going on with the COD World League. Do you think that all of these changes are, for the betterment of COD, or do you think that there's any negatives with the whole thing or specific actions of it? Like, what's your take on everything that's going on right now?
so right now, I think this is like it's great for Call of Duty that the actual developer of the game took control of it all.
Yep.
I think that like only is going to provoke progression. And so like there's a couple things that people don't know. I know that there's supposedly supposed to be crowdfunding near the end of Call of Duty,
Right.
which was gonna produce a lot of money towards COD champs.
I think they were kind of
So
estimating around 5 million crowdfunding.
yeah,
Yeah.
so there is supposed to be a lot of crowdfunding for Call of Duty, which a lot of people might not know.
Yep.
It's a lot like it's rumored and whatnot. And pretty much like for ESL, like people think like ESL versus MLG. I don't think of it like that at all.
Yep.
I think of it as like you're just taking out one third party company and just adding another one in.
Right.
And I don't know, like people say like, oh, MLG this, MLG that, but like ESL is not perfect company either.
Yep.
But I'm just glad that the main one is Call of Duty. Like, the developers are actually taking control of the game, and they have like the end say and everything. So I think that's like the main thing that everyone should be happy of. Not really so much ESL MLG type thing. I think it should be like everyone should just be grateful that Call of Duty's starting to take interest in esports side of things.
What's your take on 18 plus?
18 plus. It's always gonna be biased because I'm 18, but honestly, I think it'll maturity, like it's kind of bad to say, but there's a lot of like really immature, 15-year-olds and whatnot. And that's kind of like I don't want to neglect all the 15-year-olds because some of them are really mature,
Yep.
like great guys, like Hugh, like one of the nicest guys
Of
in the
course. Yep.
community.
Yep.
Um, but honestly, like it's not like people. It's like it's kind of like really controversial because people can you can argue saying oh, these guys are really immature, it's gonna people are gonna see how disrespectful the COD scene is and whatnot, and then there's the other side where it's like we got these talented players who deserve a chance and can rise to the top and maybe create their own fan base, and then you got another side to it where it's like the more people that are playing, the more people that are gonna be watching. So I think it will kind of like it'll kind of maybe hinder a bit of the COD viewership, but not so much to an extent where it's like COD's dead, nothing's gonna go for. I think it's still gonna grow like
Right.
at a big pace.
And kind of another thing that's a little bit of a tangent from, the age range. Ultimately, you've been to several MESs, Michigan Esports, right there in Detroit. Great group of staff and ownership and everybody there, and we love them. And I know you've had a great rapport with those guys too.
Exactly.
What is your take on them not switching to PlayStations? Do you think that's the right move for
Mm,
them?
yeah, I think it's not. I think they should have just maybe tried to switch over to the PS4 because I
Right.
think like MES is like yeah, like I'm kind of not really like too far into it, but
Yeah.
from what I know, they're built around Call of Duty and like Call of Duty was their main focus. And I think kind of like drifting away from the whole Call of Duty scene because I know they're hosting Halo events and all this stuff. And I don't know. I think like it being on the Xbox One, first a lot of people traded in their Xbox Ones to get PS4s,
Yep.
and then now they're allowing people to use their PS4 controllers. I still think that doesn't make a difference because people aren't going to have the games for the like no one's going to go out and buy an Xbox One copy just to play at MES. You know what I mean? Like it's just a big kind of like a big waste of time. So I think if they just totally switched over to PS4,
Yep.
it would be great for the whole like community, especially the Michigan guys. Like that was like the Michigan local, like all the Michigan guys
Right.
attended it, and
And
even
especially
people from
Canadians,
Canada,
right?
yeah, people
It,
just came
yeah,
down.
exactly.
So I think it's gonna sucks to be honest because a lot of people like for me like from what I know I probably won't be attending any MES events
Right.
unless it's on the PS4
Right.
and I don't know if it's the same for you guys but
Yeah.
they're always a great group of like staff members. I love the guys there, the great guys, but I think they should have switched to be honest because
Right.
now it's like now you built this great thing and now it's like you're kind of like taken away from it now by not moving with the whole crowd.
Yeah. My next question to you, because you like walk me through like a normal day or even like a normal week of royalty right now. Obviously, there's pro players that are getting either funded or salaries, getting credits, or money for their wagers. I don't know. Have you completed high school?
Yeah,
Okay.
I finished high school.
Are you going to college?
Yeah, I'm going back to college in January, so
Nice.
in about 2 weeks I'll be back in.
And what are you going for? What are you doing?
Integrated technology.
Okay.
Yeah, so
Is it's kind of a unique question because you're 18 years old. You're having success right now in an industry that is really just starting to take off. And it's starting to be a big boom. You know, in our generation, of my generation, we saw Call of Duty players, retiring, if you will, kind of in the age of 22 to 25, more or less, give or take a year. Um, if you were to retire, and I know this is something that you probably never even thought of, if you were to retire, what do you think that your age would be if you were to retire?
uh honestly, I talked about this and this is like a huge topic because you
Because
know
and ill skill, right?
the exact
And,
that was the
and I
main
knew I knew
thing.
you were gonna say that because he's an individual that's ultimately older than the group of Canadians that we normally play with. And when life starts throwing you multiple different curveballs, whether it's family, girlfriend, relationships, kids, da da da, career, maybe you're not having the same success as you once did. You start
Mhm.
thinking of those. Obviously, you're a little bit different because you're just getting into it. You're just hitting your prime right now, right?
Yeah.
So do you think that there's like a normal range for it? Do you have an idea as to what you might think would be your retirement age?
For me, I think it's just like to the point where it's like you say, where life just throws at you a bunch of stuff, curveballs to the point where it's like, I kind of gotta take a step back because I don't want to be, only doing half the job that I could be doing in
Right.
Call of Duty. I know I don't want to be like placing top 16, sometimes top 8. Like I don't like that. I always want to be the best, and if I can't be the best, then I probably won't continue to play.
Right.
And honestly, for the whole age thing, I think it's like I talked about this actually at one of the MESs. We said that Call of Duty is like the pro players, because there's not really like you look at Counter Strike, you look at Halo, like there's players like Ogre One who are 30 years old, or like Counter Strike players who are like 28 years old,
Yep.
29 years old,
Yep.
right? And we look at it as like, I talked to Parasite about this. He says he's one of the first generation of Call of Duty players,
Yep.
and he says, there's not really, because since he's the first, like the first generation of Call of Duty players were very young,
Right.
right? And no one knows like when the retirement age should be in Call of Duty, because
Yep.
there's like you got Moho who's retired. He's one of the few who's retired. You got like
Right.
I don't like to consider those Call of Duty players like Halifax. Like I guess they're considered
Yep.
retired
Yep.
and stuff, but it's not like to continue to play right for a long period of time. And I think the only two that actually like retired, like the big guys are like Moho and Big Timer.
Yeah, big timer,
Those are
right?
those are
That's
the
that's
big
who I always think of first is like big
yeah,
timer, right?
those are like the two big guys who retired pretty much, and it's like to the point where it's like we don't really know when the retirement age is for Call of Duty because our first generation players are still in their prime. You know what I mean? So it's like the Counter Strike has been out for so long. It's
Yeah,
had
it's
like a
yeah,
pretty
that's
big
right.
esports scene for a pretty long time. Same with
Yep.
Halo. So those guys are you know their first generation players are like around the end of their time. So what for our guys in Call of Duty, like Parasite's only like what, like 22 years old.
Yep.
You got some other players like Merc. He's like 20. I think he's 23, 24.
Right.
Same with Pac-Man. Pac-Man's like 24.
And like people always call him like old man,
Yeah,
right?
and he's
And
actually
he's
really, really good at the
and
game.
he's like 23, 24, right?
Hmm.
Which is insane. So getting back to one of the original questions here is, kind of what you do like in your day. So once again, I don't want to go into the specifics of like your contract or what's going on with your team or anything like that. That's not the purpose of this conversation. But for either the amateur individuals that are watching you or even the pro players or anybody, with the support that you're getting from Kinetic or any team more or less, are you are they taking care of your wagers? Like, kind of walk me through, like, because they want to know, right? Like, if they
Yeah.
get to your level, what should they expect? Or if they don't get to your level, what shouldn't they expect? So, kind of walk me through like a normal day or a normal week for you.
All right. Well, so to first for like the whole like support and like wages and whatnot. As Call of Duty, the developers took over,
Yep.
more teams are seeing salary, right? So all those teams that you didn't see like go and like take salary in Advanced Warfare
Yep.
are now getting it. So same for Kinetic Empire, we were under salary. I don't really want to go into how much, like too
Yeah,
much
of course,
details
and
of
and
how
I don't
much,
want
but
yeah,
yeah.
yeah,
So,
but
but
it's yeah, just to say that you have a salary
yeah,
that's important.
exactly.
Yep.
Especially it was like really important, like for a lot of like the quote unquote pro players to get the
Yep.
salary because like World League's a big thing, and
Of course.
you want to just push the players to be more motivated to play,
Yep.
and I think salary did a big part in it because people were like, if I'm gonna get paid this, I can quit my part-time job, I can focus on
Right. You can
more
focus
just
on
playing.
streaming and doing everything.
Yeah,
Yep.
streaming and exactly. So I think
Yep.
it helped a lot of the pro players, and I think it made them like have more time to play, and pretty much made it more of a job than it was before.
Right.
So
And provided stability, right?
exactly, yeah.
Like, what time do you normally wake up in a day?
Usually around 11, and from 11 I try to go to the gym in the afternoon
Okay.
because I kind of started getting back into the gym because it was really inconsistent because I went to the gym in Advanced Warfare, but it was I was always playing, so sometimes I was like, okay, I gotta take this day off. But now I kind of got myself on like a set schedule, so I'll wake up in the morning, try to go to the gym in the afternoon, and then do my thing for a bit, just chill, eat dinner, and then come on with my team, play for pretty much the whole night. Try to get in some tournaments in, and just that's about it. And then wake up, kind of repeat, and then throw some kind of cool events in. Like, I'll just go to my friends on Friday nights, and take a day off. You know what I mean? Just
Right.
like kind of like if you would if you had a job, but.
Yep. If you were to with your grind sessions and everything that's going on, like when you sit down and you say, all right, guys, we need to, we're running, we're scrimming, we're doing eights, whatever the case may be. How long are those sessions typically for you? Are they 4 hours, 6, 8, 10, 12? Where are they?
Yeah. So for our team, we try to go around 4 to 5. I think for us, especially when I was on Epsilon, it applies to Kinetic Empire as well. We usually try to like get our scrims in, get the game down, and then we like to play tournaments because I think everyone can agree with me that scrims aren't the most effective way of getting better. It's more of like learning the game
Right.
rather than actually playing as a team and going like everyone's going their 100%. You can't really do that in scrims, so we try playing tournaments like respawn tournaments, S&T tournaments
Yep.
to get our team chemistry up because that's when everyone's performing at like the highest level. So if we kind of like, we can replicate that into our LAN placings and all that stuff. So tournaments are more like LAN atmosphere
Yep.
rather than, LAN atmosphere compared to scrims. So we
Right.
try to usually just get the game down, get our game knowledge down, and then go into tournaments and play tournaments for the most part. And then that's kind of our gist of what we do.
So, do you prefer game battles over UMG or vice versa?
I know UMG was it's I prefer UMG to be honest because UMG's listened to the community a lot more than Game Battles has.
Right.
Like
Yep.
when we wanted to ban all this stuff, UMG was the first to do it. It took MLG a couple, 3 or 4 weeks later to do all the stuff that UMG already did.
Right.
So I think UMG kind of listened a bit more to the community, and they're easier to talk to, especially when you go on live support and get a hold of them rather than Game Battles where it's like you have to buy premium, you have to do this just to like talk to them on live support, and then it's kind of a pain. I'm not saying MLG is bad or Game Battles is bad because I
Right.
like Game Battles too. I play Game Battles tournaments a lot,
Yep.
but for my preference, it's definitely UMG.
With not really having the importance of MLG points anymore, really, and it's all about the COD World League points and everything that's going on with that. Do you see, that MLG, MLG has taken a lot of kicks here, ultimately with, the licensing and Call of Duty and now ESL coming in. Do you think game battles is as effective for a Call of Duty player, whether you're amateur or pro player coming in? Like, is it still an effective platform?
Yeah, I think that's great just because of how organized your tournaments are.
Okay.
I still think like like having a 44 tournament up, every day is great for amateur players especially because if you're an amateur player and you keep doing well in online tournaments, people are gonna recognize you. Pro players are gonna start playing with you.
Right.
So I think it's great to build players' brands, like as a whole as a player, get your name out there. And I think it's the same thing for UMG. I think it's great that they're both doing it. But like kind of for land events, I mean, yeah, it's definitely gonna hurt them, right?
Right.
Not having like kind of like MLG Columbus or like a season 3 playoffs type thing.
Right.
That's all ESL slash
Unless ESL
Columbus.
says, we want you to run it, right? Like kind of with
Exactly.
UMG, right? Like
Yeah.
UMG's, doing the first one with South Carolina, which I know you'll be at.
Mhm.
So whenever they come in and say, all right, well, we're not doing it, we'll, put it out to one of you guys can set it up for us and host it. So ultimately, they still have that brand awareness and ultimately the organization to do that. Um, so now, you had mentioned that UMG is your personal preference. Is it also your team's personal preference?
Uh, yeah, I think because me and Sin, like we're as of right now, it's kind of just me and him, and me and him, we're like the guys to play a lot of the tournaments together. Whether it be like a late night, 3v3 one and done at 2 a.m. Me and him would always be the one to play it out of our whole team,
Right.
and so definitely, I can speak for Sin too. I think it's definitely UMG for him.
Okay. Another thing with ESL and everything that they've kind of announced in the last 6 to 8 months, and some things that they focused on really in the CS community and ultimately had a big impact in gaming overall, um, which is banned substances.
Hmm.
I know that, ultimately you've seen that in LAN events, whether it's Adderall or just even illegal substances as well, drugs or contraband. Um, do you think that that's the right approach, for gaming overall, let alone the COD community? Is that something that if ESL came in and said, we're gonna have drug testing, da 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 da, we're gonna make sure that, this is a game that we're keeping, clean. Is that something that you right now say that you can support and something that you would be proactive in saying, I agree with that?
Yeah, I definitely am proactive with that. I 100% agree with what they're doing.
Okay.
I think it's great that they're kind of taking more of a serious approach rather than letting everyone do their own thing. It's kind of being taken more of a sport now, which is good.
Right.
Um, And I think that's what like like this whole esports thing is trying to get to. It's trying to get to being as big as the NHL or like MLB or the NFL. You know what I mean?
Right.
We're trying to get to that level, and I think by taking more of a serious approach to it, it'll help us get to where we want to be.
Right.
So
And especially the COD community, right? Because we already see viewership right now from Twitch for League of Legends, CS:GO, that's already trumping NHL games, right?
yeah,
Or and exceeding, Major League Baseball playoffs. Like you're seeing larger revenue streams that are coming from it, retention, viewership, everything coming from ultimately the sponsorship money that's coming into it are great. And I think if we're looking from Call of Duty as a whole and what we're trying to, improve upon is ultimately the community, the structure, and what we're doing moving forward so that Call of Duty can also get up to that ranks. Would you agree with that?
yeah, 100%. I agree with that. Especially with like, especially Call of Duty being such like a new kind of a new kind of like not a new esports game, but a really young esports game with like the players and such. So I think it'll make them more, especially with Twitter and all stuff, because we're one of like the communities that use Twitter very frequently
Right.
rather than CS or League of Legends. I think it'll kind of keep a tab on what people do on Twitter, what people say on Twitter, and all that stuff with ESL taking control of it because it's you can't like because I heard when you went to the qualifiers and you're in the league, you have to sign something that says, you can't do this on Twitter. You can get fined for doing it.
Yep.
If they see something bad, they can take, a percentage out of your cut that you're getting from the salary. They can take a percentage out
So it's like
of what
finding a
you're
player,
getting.
right?
Yeah, you're
It's like
just
an
fine.
it's like an NHL player coming after the game
Mm,
and saying, the refs fucked up,
yeah, exactly.
and then they're like, all right, well, you just got slapped with a $25,000 fine,
It's the same
right?
thing, and
Yeah.
I like how they're doing that because it's being taken more serious. And to go with like what you said about the MLG, like the points and stuff.
Yeah.
Um, they're doing something with the COD World League where it's not like there's points towards COD champs, and it's not the players who gets the points. It's the esports team itself.
Okay.
So the company is going to be the one getting the points rather than we saw in Advanced Warfare where it's like Scumpy had this many pro points, Nate shot him this many pro points. It's
Right.
more of like Elevate has this many pro points, Envy has this many
So
points, and
even and that's a great point. I actually personally did not know that. So let's say Kinetic Empire has you, Sin, and then two other guys.
yeah,
You guys go and place top four at South Carolina.
yep,
So those points. So and then let's say you and Sin leave Kinetic, go
hmm
to Elevate,
yep.
right?
We
Those points.
lose those points
So those
pretty
points
much.
don't follow you. So you
Yep.
gain whatever points Elevate has
Yeah,
at that
exactly.
point. All right. So that's fantastic.
I think that
Um,
makes the most sense to be
right. And
honest.
from an org point of view, that's great because then I don't feel like I'm losing something that I personally invested in,
Yeah.
right? And that's even conversations that you and I have had conversations with in the past. Is when here it is that we've done something and now we potentially lose it, right?
Mm.
So I think that's a great idea that they've come up with. And was that Activision that came up with that, or was that ESL?
Yeah, it was Activision, and what they're doing is to because that's the organization side,
Right.
but you can only make two roster changes a season, so it's not like an org like it's fair for both parties. It's not like an org can just dump a whole roster
Right.
and pick up a whole new one. It's more like you got to keep two players, and so it's still like the organization's getting their points, and you're pretty much playing for the organization rather than playing for your own name
Yeah.
at this point. So which is also good because each organization is obviously trying to build their own brand up. I know because I think right now or was before in AW. Before it was like if I get on Optic, I get this, I get that, I get this, and if I get on Phase, I get this. But like the smaller orgs such as like because Kinetic Empire is a smaller org,
Right.
to be fully honest. But they're a great group of guys, and I think it's fair. Like it helps them Kinetic Empire to help them grow if we get good land placings for them because they'll see Kinetic Empire is at the top, and they're gonna make COD champs, and we're playing for not just ourselves anymore. We're playing for this organization,
Right.
and it's kind of more of like a family than it was before
Right.
in Advanced Warfare. Rather than Advanced Warfare was like, okay, well, I don't like this organization. I'm gonna go hop on this org because they're bigger. You know what I mean?
So now, just a couple things just to confirm with people that are going to watch this or watching this live right now. So Kinetic Empire, are they right now in the COD World League?
No, we
Okay.
didn't make the COD World League. We
Right.
we lost 6-5 to
Right.
DT last map. So
And I knew that, but I wanted whoever's going to watch this. So right now you're going to be going in the Challenger division, correct?
mm,
So now everything that you had mentioned in terms of what's happening in terms of like the season and people that are in the COD World League and the Pro League and the Challenger, is it the same for Pro League as well as Challenger? In terms of
like
that whole setup with points, teams?
Yes. So there's not a whole. It's not actually a league for the Challenger. It's just Challenger events.
Right.
So there's not a league structure itself for the Challenger, which I think is good, to be honest, because no one's going to be wanting to play against you know teams that didn't make a league, and you're only going to be playing against teams that didn't make a league. I think
Right.
it's good that they're doing it, for events only, and for events you get those points. So you're not going to be playing for online against like online amateur teams for points. You leave that up to the pros because the way ESL is doing it
Yeah.
is I heard this from someone in the league that it says that you can, for ESL and for the World League, what they're gonna do is you can't. I don't know if you heard about this, but you can't stream. Not like even if you're not playing the match,
Yeah.
if you're a player in the World League, you cannot stream. You cannot stream while a league match is being like played. Even
Okay.
if you're not playing in the match, like if you're like Scump can't stream if Elevate's versing DT. Scump can't stream within that time frame.
Right.
He has to sit it out for like that whole game, and then after the series is done, then you can turn on a stream after. But I think it'll like bring in like a lot of the viewership to that one game, and it'll
Right.
help the players in general that aren't that big grow their own brand. So
And I think that that's a great idea. And I think you got to give them credit for innovation, right?
yeah.
Um, a couple things now. I kind of want to get to like a little bit of the lighter side with you here a bit,
Mhm.
because there's a lot of people that will want to know your thoughts and your opinions on this. If you had the choice between eights or wagers, GBs or UMGs, for fun, what do you do? Like, what's fun for you?
Wagers 100%.
Okay.
I love playing wagers. Like play wagers with Remy, Steven, Myth, all
Right.
those guys, and you're still playing for money, but it's still at the end of the day, it's like such a little bit of money where it's like if you lose, it's not a big deal,
Right.
and if you win, you're still having fun.
Right.
So it's
What
good for both parties.
what's the highest wager you've ever done in a game?
I'm not really a wager star, but the highest I've done was $25. So
What is the
not
highest
too
one you've
much.
ever heard of?
$100 or $100 I think was the highest. 100 or 200.
Who
I
posted it?
I was God Wonka and Fiber.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure they play like they're like the 2v2 like duo with Fiber and Wonka, and they play like
Okay.
$100 challenges or something. So
Okay. And then next thing, who would you say would be like your biggest rival? Like like think about hockey for a second. So I'm a Toronto Maple Leaf fan. I don't know. What's your favorite team?
Maple Leafs, and then the
All right.
Maple Leafs Canadians rivalry.
Canadians,
I
right?
know what
Okay.
you're gonna say.
Right.
Yep.
So who's like your Montreal Canadian? Like from
Uh,
either from also from a player point of view, but also from a team point of view.
from a player point of view,
Like who
I,
like if you were to be on main stage and you're like,
mm,
fuck, I can't believe I'm playing this guy again.
yeah.
Right? So who's like the person that you would hate, and that could be like the person that knows you so well, that knows like your movement. Or someone that just like like it's always been deadlocked. Like he takes one, you take one. Like who's that person to you?
I think it's always fun to play. Like not even like a friendly rivalry. I'm gonna say this is Remy. I
Right.
love playing Remy.
Right.
If I could play Remy on land, win or lose, it's still gonna be fun. There's some good banter at the end of the game, friendly banter. And it's just fun having
Right.
friends that are pro players too, and like
Yeah.
being able to play them.
Yeah.
And still having a good time.
And
Playing against.
Remy's good as shit too, right?
Yeah, Remy's a great player.
Yeah,
He's a good guy too.
yeah, he's a
So.
really good guy. Now outside of like friends, I gotta know because like I'm dying to know like who's the rivalry outside of friends. You gotta give me something.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to go with. I want to go with FaZe because I feel like every time I play FaZe, they just like somehow always beat us
Okay,
or beat
and
me in general. So I
and
want
like a specific person in general, like either past or present.
uh probably Glacier dropped 57 on us
Okay.
at DC. So I'm always trying to get my revenge on him for that.
Right, Now, I believe while you were at UGC Niagara under SetToDestroyX with my team, you still own the current record for hardpoint kills.
Yep.
And can you mention who you beat and what the kills were?
So hardpoint kills at 61 kills. It was actually at California.
Oh, was it California?
Yeah, it was
Okay.
California.
I thought it was Niagara for some reason.
Yeah, Niagara had a lot of 40 bombs that event, but
Right.
not 60. But
Um,
it was 61 versus Scorched Esports.
yep.
and they had a couple decent players. I know some of those players ended up placing top like 17 or something like that at
Right.
New Orleans.
Yep.
So it's not like they were like some terrible team, and it was a pretty far like we were in like losers round 8. So it's not like you're gonna be versing some Rand Bob
Right.
team. You know what I mean?
And then it was Parasite that you beat, right? And he had
Mm.
59. Was it
No, it
59
wasn't.
or 60?
Wait, Parasite?
Yeah, because Parasite
Oh
has a
yeah,
record, right?
Parasite at 60. Yeah, 60 on the dot versus TK. I think
Right.
it was at Columbus.
Right. And then you got 61.
Mm.
I thought you had 63 for some reason.
No, I had
It's
61. I
61.
just beat.
See, I'm even trying to give you like two extra ones. You're not taking it. Okay, so you have that record. Do you think that that will be beat this year
um,
at LAN?
with if it's like a really really close game, like 250 to 249 type game where it's like the time, like
Right.
the end time.
Yeah. You gotta get a lot of time. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, because I know like the timer stops when you're in the hard point. Like, when a team has control, it stops the time.
Right.
So it helps people like get a lot of kills. But like to be honest, like the most I've ever dropped in Black Ops 3 so far was only 57.
Okay.
So I mean that
Which is
was
pretty
one
close.
time. So it maybe if someone's going off like if Scumpy or Clayster are just
Right.
on point, destroying, because it's like even if you're destroying, you're still not gonna get like 60 kills because there's a timer. So if your team's destroying, like I have like 55 kills. And the rest of my teammates are going to be feeding off that. They probably have like 2.0 KDs or close to. We're going to be beating the team like 250 to like 80 or something. It's
Right.
not going to be like I'm going to have a chance to get 60.
Yeah, you're gonna have like
I'm doing
38,
that.
40, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Right. Um, if you were to pick one person to beat that record, who would that be?
Probably Scumpy, just because it's like everyone knows who Scumpy is. It's not like it's not like I can be like next to Scumpy because everyone considers Scumpy the
Right.
best. So it's
Right.
like everyone knows Scumpy is that good, so it's like acceptable for him to like take that record.
Why
But
do you think that Scumpy didn't beat Parasites though, and you did?
um, Scump is like Scump's a really good player. I think it's kind of hard when you have like three other best players in the
Right.
world on
That makes
one
sense.
team. So it's like you're competing against not only the team but your own teammates like themselves with kills. You know what I
Right.
mean?
Obviously there hasn't been, outside of like the Totino's land and everything like that and the Invitational, there really hasn't been like an open game yet so far in Black Ops 3. There's been qualifiers and tournaments and things of that nature. Who do you think right now is the best team to beat? Who is
Uh,
the team to beat right now?
Team to beat. I'm gonna say there's a couple of them. I haven't seen like these teams like match up against each other.
Yeah.
Like since Totino's, and I don't like saying Totino's like, because that's like Rise won it, and
Right.
Rise is one of the best teams in the game right now
Yep.
too.
Yep.
But I still don't like considering that event being like such like a
The end
great
all be all.
competitive event.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Because you're not going through
So,
the whole,
mm,
the whole bracket, but
yeah, exactly. It was just
ultimately
a best of one,
that's
best
right.
of 3 games.
And the only reason I'm asking you is because you scrim, you played a lot of these players, you know them very well. So ultimately you have that insight that I
Yeah.
believe, is credible in what you're saying. So who do you think has that edge right now? Who do you think is the team to
Right
beat?
now, the team to beat is it's either I'm gonna be honest, either Optic or Envy. People won't count Envy in, but if you've seen Ace and TP play this game,
Right.
they're like on a totally another level. Like these guys they're like the TP that you saw from like Ghost and Black Ops 2. Like they're back. So if I want to see a game like a matchup being played, I want Optic to play Envy, and I want to see who's gonna win between those two because those teams like to me are like the powerhouse teams right now. So.
If you had to pick like a sleeper team right now, that isn't essentially like a top 10, who would you think is like that sleeper team right now that you think can, either come from Challenger and come in like, and it could be like a team that's already established right now that that they're going to South Carolina, or just players that you think, who do you think that sleeper team or organization is right now that's going to come in and perform well at South Carolina?
Um, I haven't seen a lot of amateur teams play, but if I were to say one, I know that Easy G team did pretty well at the
Okay.
qualifiers.
Yep.
So that's a really good team that probably can do some damage at a LAN event.
Okay.
And then as of right now, I honestly think that like if Steven like Myth and Steven are apparently a team of two, so I
Yep.
think if like they can find like a core group of guys, they'll be a good team themselves.
Right.
Because I know they've been playing and like beating some really good S&D kids and S&D stars in a lot of online tournaments. So I think they can put put everything together and get a good team going and do well at the qualifiers. And I'm trying to think of another team here. I want to say like there's like in the pro league, a sleeper team is 100% AES. AES is 100% a sleeper team. Like those
So
guys were like the type of guys.
Apotheon.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah. Apotheon Esports. Like those are the type of guys that will like play a team like Optic and be like Optic will be like, okay, this should be an easy win. Apotheon comes in, they lose first map, which is fine. They play second map, they take the S&D, they sneak in, they be an uplink, and
Right.
then they take the last map S&D, and they win the series 3-2. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
Apotheon's that team that, like, kind of like, it reminds me, like, kind of like the revenge team from, like, COD Champs, where it's
Right.
like, they're
They'll
going into
start
S&D.
slow and then take it from
Yeah, like,
S&D on.
I remember Remy back in the revenge days, he said, like, we weren't the best hardpoint team, but, we were never, like, we were never upset when we lost first map because we
Right.
knew it was our weakest game mode. And I think it's the same for AES. Like they're not gonna come into a hard point and be like against Optic and be like we're gonna win this 100%. They're gonna be like, okay guys, if we take this map, we give a good chance of taking the series. But if not, it's not the end of the world. You know what I mean?
Right. Funniest person that you know in Call of Duty. Funniest gamer.
Probably ill skill.
Ill skill. Okay.
Hmm.
Most annoying.
Most annoying. I'm gonna have to go with. I'm gonna go with Myth, just because he smokes. Like he does all this like stupid shit, and
Right.
every
Right.
single time I'm trying to scrim. Like you know what he does.
Most negative person,
uh,
and not from people that you played with, but like
uh
even in general, like most negative minded individual.
Most negative minded. Poppy. King
Okay.
Pop.
Yep. Yep. And then who is like if you had to pick one player that would be your duo, whether it's like S&D, whatever type of tournament you're going, like that this person would be no matter what game style, whatever map, whatever game, this is the person. Who's that person to you?
Remy,
Remy?
100%.
Okay.
Hmm.
Who's your favorite stream? Like if you were to watch streaming, who's your favorite streamer to watch?
I'm gonna say Scump,
Scope.
100%.
Okay. And then are you like big into YouTube? Like, do you watch a lot of YouTube?
Yeah, I enjoy YouTube.
Who's like the person in the COD community that that you watch or you study or you check out
Uh,
their videos?
I love watching like Maniac's videos. Like he's a funny guy in the Optic House because I get to see like the whole Optic House and then like his own personality with
Right.
them. So
Okay.
I love watching that.
If you had to unfollow one of your friends on Twitter, who would be the first person you would unfollow?
Uh, Probably I'm gonna go with Alvaro just because it's funny.
Okay. Who would be the first person you would block?
Poppy.
Okay. And then next question here would be oh, what was I? I was just gonna ask you one more question. What do you think is like the one, the quintessential thing that has led to your success so far in gaming? Like, has it been, hours you put in? Has it been your equipment? Has it been like the people you surrounding yourself? Like, what is the one thing that you think has led you to where you are now?
I think it's a lot of grinding and playing with the right players. Because people like, if you go into someone's stream, be like, how did you get to this like pro status? People will tell you grind, the one word answer. But it's not. It's not just grinding. Like I can grind all I want and have
Right.
like the three worst teammates
Right.
and still get nowhere.
Right.
You know what I mean? So it's not like you kind of want to build your own ladders and like build your own bridges, like to connect with other players and such. So I think building a lot of like relationships, like you can apply this to business too, because for yourself you would know this. Like
Right.
you build bridges, make connections, make relations with people. You're gonna improve not only yourself but them too. And I think it's the same thing. Like for me, I knew Remy, and from Remy I was able to get on a team like Epsilon. And it's kind of similar thing. So if you get your name out there and you're skilled and you know people, it's just 100 times better for yourself.
What is like the one thing that an amateur like, if you were to give one piece of advice, outside of what you just said right now, and building your network and obviously, grinding, because there's a difference of working hard and working
Mm.
smart. If you were to say, one thing to a brand new gamer, what would be that one thing for you to say, to get them into amateur COD?
I'd say if you're playing it as a hobby, if you're playing Call of Duty as a hobby, try playing tournaments or online tournaments, game battles, UMGs. It's all like more competitive, and even if you lose, it's not too bad because if you're just starting off, you can't expect to win. So it's all in good fun if you're playing tournaments or GBs and such. That's how I started playing when I was a casual player
Right.
and got into game battles. I kind of took it as like my record is like what 1-12 on like my team ladder. It's all good because I just started playing, but slowly as you keep playing, it gets more addicting, and you just kind of build your own skill level and
Right.
get yourself up there. So it's always fun.
What's the highest placing you ever had at a LAN event?
A major event is third. It was at season 3 playoffs.
Okay. And who was that? Was that under the Revenge?
Epsilon. It was
That was Epsilon. Okay.
me, Parasite, Remy, and Nakafin.
Okay. What do you think will be your highest achievement this year,
Hope
2016?
hoping to win an event this year. I was so close to season 3 playoffs, and I just like at that point I was at that point where it's like I have to win an event now, and
Right.
if I don't do it in 2015, I'm gonna do it in 2016. So
Okay. Excellent. Well, once again, guys, we've had Royalty here joining us from Mississauga here in Canada, Ontario. And Royalty, where can people find you? So tell us, like, Twitch, Twitter, whatever. Like, where can people find you, and what's the links for that?
so for my Twitter, it's royalty with an I as an L, and then MF for my initials. Matt Faithful is my first and last name. So royalty with an I as an L, and then MF at the end. No spaces, no nothing. And then for my Twitch, it's double R royalty with an I as an L. And for my YouTube, you can just search me up at royalty, like Epsilon royalty, and you should just find my name up here, and the YouTube channel should be there. So that's where my kind of main social media places are. So.
Excellent. And Royalty, we definitely appreciate you for you joining us for the STDX interview. Big shout out to our exclusive partner, World Gaming. Also, our premier sponsors here in Logitech G, Scuff Gaming, as well as Arazi Chairs. Make sure to use discount code STDX, as well as G Fuel and Control Freaks as well. Once again, thank you very much for joining us, and we will talk to you soon.